Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan Battle video. So, it has been a long time since I've done a tier list. A very long time. I think post-worldwide is a good time to jump back in. Let me check quickly when my last tier list was. Oh wow, it was actually it was December 2023 was my last LR tier list. Yeah, a long time ago. Okay. But we're back. So, finally, I didn't even do one for the 9th anniversary, which I definitely should have. Missed opportunity. But, we're here. The reason I don't do these tier lists is because I really like to break down everything I'm thinking. So these videos tend to take like at least 40 minutes for me. Because a lot of people can just place a unit, be like, oh, this is briefly why I want, put them there and then move on. I like to break down like nearly all of my thoughts, so we might be here a while. So, you know, if you want to use this video in the background for some background noise, might not be the worst idea. Because I'll probably be here for 40 minutes to an hour, is my assumption. It is 12:38 in the afternoon. So, you know, for me. So I might be here. You'll see how long this video takes. But anyways, let's get into it. So this is post-worldwide. This is post-Gogeta and Janemba memorable battles. So the way I like to rank my units here, leader skill's not really considered. It's a small factor, but not hugely. The biggest factor is how they do in the most difficult fights. That's the biggest deal here. And the most difficult fights right now on global. Now we just got the heroine battles stages, but we don't have Bulma yet, which would obviously be a huge factor. Fortunately, don't have it, so can't consider Bulma. Also, JP units are not included here, so you can see like HL Jiren right here. He's not included on this list. Yeah, so the big four fights, in order of importance, starting from the least important to the most, is Super Boss Stage 2 Cell Max. We have Blue Kaioken and Evolution Blue Vegeta in the Universal Survival Saga Supreme Magnificent Battle. Don't have Goku and Frieza yet, but, you know, eventually they'll come. And then the most important fights are Memorable Battles Super Gogeta and Memorable Battles Super Janemba. They are the four big fights on global. And if you are not good in those four fights, then you're probably not on this list. So, let's get in. There's a lot of honorable mentions I could go through. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but you can see them. Like Golden Frieza 17, definitely very good. Team Universe 7. Physical Gogeta did not make the list. AGL Broly, I think I seen him somewhere. There he is. Did not make the list. Tech UI Goku, I would have at number 11 here. He did not make the list just because he is just very capable of getting caught and killed. 70% dodge. People used to say that 50% downward reduction he had was for normals, or was for supers. No, it's for normals. He just gets blasted. He does. He really does. So, yeah, he did not make the list. Obviously, transformed Tech UI is God. Like, if we were just considering transformed Tech UI, or if his condition was much easier, he would be way higher on this list. He would probably be like number 4 or something. Maybe number 3. Would he be 2? Maybe. Maybe. If he started out transformed, maybe he would be. But anyways, he's not on the list. Because I just don't find him consistent enough. Like, he's good in Cell Max. I wouldn't call him amazing. He's pretty good in Evo-Ken. Like, Blue Kaioken and Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta. As long as you get him on turn 1 or 2. If you get him in slot 3, like slot 7, and you move through the fight too fast, he's not going to be able to get his domain out. And then his dodge cancelling nullification is just not going to be relevant, and he's not going to do a whole lot. So, yeah, like he's dependent on that kind of thing. So that's why he's on the list. He is pretty good for Physical Janemba and Tech Gogeta, but I don't know. You could probably squeeze him onto the list, I think, for sure. If someone said he's number 10 on this list, I would not argue it, really. I think the spots 10... I think the spots 11, 10, and 9 could all be swapped around. For sure. For sure. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go. So, number 10 on my list is LR Cell Max. LR Cell Max, right here. So, what makes Cell Max so good? Why is he on the list first? Well, it's because he's super powerful. Straight away, okay? Well, maybe not straight away. So, the good parts about Cell Max. His guard right away is super good. We love 3-turn guard. His huge stat start of turn is definitely nice. I don't mind this as a mechanic, by the way. I don't mind this. Gain key and attack when attacking. That's fine. This is ass. This sucks. Getting defense by getting hit, that's bad. We do not like that here. He does need this condition up right here, which isn't a tough condition for the most part. Now, unfortunately, Super Bosses is completely dead right now. Super Bosses is... They tried to build Super Bosses up this year, but they went about it horribly. Super Bosses sucks right now. Like, you have Rosé, but no. Like, you have Topo, who doesn't want to be run with Super Bosses. He wants to be run with Universe 11. Like, LR Jiren, for example. Like, Artificial Life Forms, unfortunately, is dead as well. Like, Fat Boo is really good, and Buhan can be quite good, but who else? No one. The Gammas, I guess, but again, here's the thing. He doesn't want to be run with superhero allies either, so you're not going to get that. So you have to run on movie bosses, which is fine. Movie bosses is really good right now, so that's fine. Cellmax has a spot on movie bosses. Cellmax dominates Evo Vegeta and Blue Kaioken Goku for sure. Cellmax one not as much, but he can definitely be effective in there. I don't like him in Janemba or Gogeta. When Janemba gets hit by an STR enemy, he gets a massive attack buff, which Cellmax will trigger, and Cellmax needs to get hit to build up his defense. So he just gets washed by Janemba a lot of the time. Same with Gogeta. Gogeta doesn't even attack that often, and when he can double super, so Cellmax can very easily get caught there as well. So I don't like Cellmax in those fights, which is why he's at the bottom of the list. Like, I would say Tekuai Goku is probably better in Janemba and Gogeta than Cellmax is, probably. Do we say that? I think so. I think he's probably better in there. But I think Cellmax's game-winning ability, which is this, right here, is too big. This is one of the best active skills in the game. Again, he comes completely invincible with his active up. No boss can kill him. It's a target skill. Super effective, right? It's very, very good in like all fights. And I know we're not considering Goku and Frieza and Bulma, but this is a game winner against them as well. Like, this secures the W against both of those two fights. So that is something to consider, but not too much on global. Again, we don't have the fights right now, but they'll eventually come. The downside about Cellmax, doesn't have defense on super attack effects. I don't know why he couldn't get it. It would help him a lot. It really would. If you got defense on supers. Getting defense when getting hit sucks. Like, that's a terrible condition. And before, I didn't find his restrictions too bad, but as fights get harder and some units become less and less prominent in the meta, like you know, Exchange Boo, for example, on Artificial Life Forms. You could run Cellmax on Artificial Life Forms before, because Majin Power was good enough to beat these tough events. Now Majin Power isn't. Or it's at least much harder. So that definitely takes away from Cellmax's restriction, right? Because Artificial Life Forms is dead. Super Bosses could get through tough events. Now it can't. So that's kind of gone. So he really only has one team now, which definitely sucks. Like, it's tough. His restrictions are definitely now coming back to bite him. I definitely think it was overplayed when he came out, though. When people were saying, oh, he's restricted when he came out. That didn't matter, because a lot of teams, there wasn't a whole lot of teams before. Now there actually is a decent amount of teams, and Cellmax only has one right now, because his other two teams have aged out. So that's why Cellmax is down here. Also, he's a big bad bosses unit, and on movie bosses, which is dominated by the Brolys mostly. There's not a whole lot of big bad bosses. The only two movie bosses I can think of off the top of my head that have big bad bosses and are good are the Broly trio and LR Janemba. Like, other than Cellmax. So, not ideal for Cellmax, but that's why he's down here. Right? That's why he's at number 10. Okay. Whoops, wrong list. I kind of spoiled it, but it's fine. You guys kind of know how it's going to be. Number 9 is Evolution Blue Vegeta. Number 9, you guys didn't see that. Number 9 is Evolution Blue Vegeta. Evolution Blue Vegeta is still very good. He hasn't really fallen off a whole lot since he came out. But let's talk about why he's good first. Good super attack effects straight away. Defense on both. 50% defense here. Also the crit chance. And 50% attack defense here. Crit chance for 2 turns here. It's really good. Vegeta at 24 key guaranteed crits, by the way. Where can I show that? It is here. Right here. Big attack buff guaranteed crits on 24 key and on his active. Turn 1 guard, super good, with his 50% reduction. He gets extra reduction when every attack receives or dodges. He builds up by just attacking, not super attacking, by the way, which is obviously very good. He is a guaranteed additional with a 77% chance of being a super, rather than just a 77% chance to be a super, which is AGL UI Goku, right? We will get onto him as well, but I do prefer having the guaranteed additional with a chance to be a super, because that means the hidden potential system will activate more frequently. His revive condition is good. It is. How often do you see it though? I don't know. I use Vegeta a lot. I use Evolution Blue Vegeta a lot. If you watch my videos, you will see that if I can put him on the team, I often do. But how often am I getting his revive? I feel like not that often. I feel like maybe I'm just really unlucky. It's possible. But I feel like I don't see it too often. The fights you will see it. Blue Kaioken and Evolution Blue, for sure, you will see his revive. They attack a lot. You will more than likely see his revive. Cell Max, you'll probably see his revive as well. Janemba, maybe. I don't know about Janemba. I've taken him in there. I don't like to run Evolution Blue Vegeta in that fight because he has type disadvantage. Once he doesn't have his guard, so that's very scary for me, so I tend not to bring him in there. Janemba does attack enough that you probably could get his revive though. And then Tech Gogeta, I do run him in there quite a bit because he's type advantage. But he also... Gogeta does not attack a whole lot, so you're probably not seeing his revive there either. Okay, let's talk about the downsides to Vegeta, right? He does also get guard again after he revives, but again, how often do you see it? What are the downsides of Vegeta? I do not like him in slot 1. I don't. I really, really don't. With a unit like Tech UI Goku back here, who's not on the list, but I really am kind of talking myself into putting him there. I might actually put him above Cell Max. We'll see. I might change my mind. But a unit like Tech UI Goku, even though he does die for me a lot, because 70% dodge or die, I do trust him in slot 1. Like, if I need a slot 1 unit, I don't have someone like AGL UI Goku, or like Beast Gohan, I do tend to trust Tech UI Goku. I do not tend to trust this guy. I don't. Because even when he builds up his stats, in slot 1, with his 50% damage reduction, he's getting washed by these big supers. Cell Max, like fully built up Vegeta, by the way, in the Cell Max event, dies. If Cell Max instantly supers, he just dies. And Cell Max will instantly super, right? That's what he does. At the start of the fight, he doesn't tend to. He's a bit more random with it. But as the fight goes on, he does super slot 1. Basically guaranteed. And Vegeta cannot live. He just dies. So not a good look. Against Evolution Blue Vegeta, Blue Kaioken Goku, he dies. If he is not guarding. If they instantly super, I mean, he is type disadvantage there. But that's something we have to consider. Typings of the bosses, right? If Vegeta is type disadvantage against one of the toughest bosses in the game, in fact, he's type disadvantage against 2 of them. Because he's type disadvantage against Blue Kaioken Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta at the start, and Janemba the whole way through. That's a factor we gotta consider. Like, he cannot go slot 1 against Janemba. He can't do it. With his guard up, he can. Without it, he's dead. Evolution Blue Vegeta, Blue Kaioken, same thing. Against the Evolution Blue Vegeta fight, because you can't bring Tech... Well, you can't... Tech UI can't survive a super slot 1. Like, you kind of have to run Vegeta in slot 1 a lot of the times in these fights against, like, Transform... Or, like, the AGL Evolution Blue Vegeta with the dodge cancelling. Vegeta can go slot 1 there, yeah, and you just have to get lucky. Because, again, if he fires that 3 million super straight away, Vegeta dies. It's just how it is. So, I don't like that about Vegeta. Again, I find his revive inconsistent, which is something you will find that I really don't enjoy about top tier units. If a top tier unit is super inconsistent, then I don't think they're top tier. Like, they're not at the very, like, peak if I find them inconsistent. Which this guy is just not. He's not consistent in slot 1. Which his counterpart is. Right? Which we'll get onto UI Goku soon. But that's why I have Vegeta down here. He cannot go slot 1. Which is, again, the most important part of a fight. If a unit can go slot 1, they're really good. And this unit cannot. So, a lot of the time. He can go slot 1 like twice in a fight. His first turn and his revived turn. After that, it's risk. It's a big risk. Speaking of unit with big risk and also big reward, right? A bigger reward than Vegeta in slot 1. Let's pull them up here. Make sure I don't spoil the rest of the list again. It's these guys. Right here. Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Gohan, and Super Saiyan Trunks. They lead a great team, straight away. Let's talk about the good things first, before I start ragging on this unit. Because I really like this unit, but I also really hate them. So, let's go over why first. Let's go over why I like them. Really great leader skill. One of the best leader skills in the game. For sure. For sure. This 18 key super attack effect is amazing. 50% attack and defense for 3 turns, and raise super class allies by 30% attack and defense. Really good super attack effect. One of the best in the game. Easily. Easily. Okay. 3 key, 200% attack and defense, start of turn. Good. Type orb change I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is important. 2 key per physical key sphere. 1 key per type key sphere. Universal support. All allies 3 key, 50% attack. Self-excluded. That's really good. That's, yeah. 3 key support and 50% attack. Yeah, we love that. 30% damage reduction when receiving a super is good. Probably would have preferred it to be higher. You'll see why. 30% defense when receiving attack for every 3 key. So at 24 key is when they have their max defense, and that's what, 3 times what? What, 3 times 7? That's 240% extra defense. Multiplicative when receiving an attack. Very good. If they have 24 key, that is. Which you need to get them to. You must get them to 24 key for their max defensive ability. You get 2 additional attacks, with each of which has a high chance to be super, in case 18 or more, which is very easy to get. These guys are not going to struggle to get 18k a lot of the time. They're super effective against all types, so key is 24, which is obviously good. Although I will say this, by the way, I think super effective against all types is kind of played out now. I do. These bosses just have really high defenses now. And super effective against all types does not cut through. You know what it does? Crit. Crit cuts through. Crit. Crit cuts through defense. And this unit does not crit. They do not have built-in crit. They have built-in super effective. Which is fine. Like, super effective is okay. But if you want to do real damage against these big bosses, you need crit. Which is why I'd recommend building this unit full crit, by the way. Full crit and dodge, for sure. But anyways, the biggest reason why they were so beloved when they first dropped in Worldwide Part 1, and why I had them at number 1, by the way. If you were watching my videos of them, or you're in my Discord, which is always, the link is always in the description, join it. We talk about Dokkan all the time. It's a great time. If you are in there, and you've heard me talk about this unit at the first part of the Worldwide, yeah, they were number 1. They were number 1 because of this. If there's another movie hero or Desperate Struggle category ally, Desperate Struggle, by the way, is All Out Struggle. It's the same. It's just the translation. They get an additional 15% damage reduction, and for 2 turns, all allies get 77% defense for 2 turns. This was like when you rock their team and you have one of these guys in each rotation. This is basically a mini Easy 8 for like all units. It's crazy. It's insane how good that like defensive buff is. It's huge. It really is. But yeah, unfortunately, we are not in the part 1 of the Worldwide anymore. We are past that point. New fights dropped, new units dropped, and things change. So, what changed for this unit? Why do I have them down here, not number 1, like I had them at the part 1 of the anniversary? Few things. This sucks. Like, listen, the attack debuff I will take. No defense on 12th key, why? Why? Why does this unit not have defense on 12th key? I don't understand. They are a Dokkan LR, they are the highest tier of character, and they don't get defense on super. I don't understand. Would it make them busted? I don't think so. Like, if they got defense, by the way, on this, if they got 30% attack and defense on this, would they be number 1? No. Would they be number 2? I don't think so. Like, I don't think this shoots them back to number 1 if they got defense on this. I really don't. Okay. Now, what is the big thing? Why is this unit falling off? They haven't really fallen off. They've just... I prefer what other units are doing above them. But what happened? First of all, type orb changing is super inconsistent. It is. So getting the 24 key is not always guaranteed, which means their full defense is not always guaranteed. And what did I say earlier? Consistency is the most important thing. Alright? The two most important things for a unit is to be consistent and to not die. And this unit doesn't do either of these very well. Okay? Actually, I did not talk about their standby. Let me talk quickly about their standby, and I'll go back to bashing them in a second. Let me go down to, where is it? It's here, on the left-hand side. Right? Yeah, it's right here. Okay, this guy. They're a standby unit. The standby is great. I don't have to talk about this too often. 259% defense right here. They change the key sphere to physical, so at least you can set it up because you know what key sphere is changing type. Like, you know. So that's good. They get defense when receiving that for every 3 key, and if key's 24, you get 59% damage reduction. 20% defense per key sphere, and if you're getting a physical key sphere, you're still giving 2 turns support. And then their finish skill, the Miraculous Punch, does crazy damage. Like, yes, this is great. This unit is great. I don't have a problem with him. When you're in standby, it's great. I wish it was longer. It's only 3 turns, so you cannot float them. If you float them, you waste it. So I really wish it was 4 turns at least. I don't care that's not 5, but 4 would have been good. I guess I give away 3 because there's 3 of them here. But in the finish skill, Piccolo and Vegeta are also there, so why not make it 5, right? Why not make it 5 turns? If it was 5 turns, I would feel much safer using their standby. I'm much happier to use it. But here's another thing about this type of unit. They're a standby unit. And this is also a thing against Tech UI Goku. I mean, it's not going to affect him yet. It is, unfortunately. Like, fortunately for him, he's not really domain clashing with anyone. Future Gohan, I guess, but it's not the biggest deal. And then same with like Broly, but you're not going to run Broly and this unit together. Unfortunately for these guys, they already have a standby clashing unit with another unit on this list who has a better standby than them. So you're not going to want to go into their standby a whole lot because you want to go into the better standby. So that's the thing with these guys. But yeah, let me go back here. Yeah, inconsistent with orbs. What's the next thing? They die. A lot. Also, here's another reason they die a lot. Now, yes, you could say, oh, if you just run this all the time, but like all the units on this leader skill, part of their leader skill, then they're not gonna fail. They're always gonna have like this extra defense up and the extra reduction. So why? Okay, first of all, they do lead Desperate Struggle, yes. They don't actually lead movie heroes, right? They don't. Super Saiyans and Power of Wishes are not movie heroes. I mean, it's better that they don't, right? Probably lead movie. Well, they say let movie heroes. I mean, we do have a 200% leader of movie heroes already in Carnival Gogeta, who I think is very good, and is probably like number 12 on this list. But what if they just made this like movie hero instead of Desperate Struggle and movie heroes? What if they made it Desperate Struggle and like Power of Wishes? What if they did that instead? Because that's actually on their leader skill, right? Or Super Saiyans. What if they changed it to movie hero instead of movie heroes and Desperate Struggle? What if it was Desperate Struggle, or All Out Struggle, I should say, Power of Wishes, and Super Saiyans? What if it was that instead? Would that not just be better? Like, I don't know. I don't know why they get a buff from a category that they don't lead. I just find that a bit awkward. But even with this up, right? They can die. They can just get one shot. Like, Cell Max straight away kills them. Now, if they super first, they're fine. But if they don't, they die. Again, that is another factor, type disadvantage. And it's only going to get worse for this unit because both Bulma and Goku and Frieza in their final phases are STR as well. So they're type disadvantage there too. They're just going to get washed. Like, that sucks, but that's the reality that this unit lives in. The meta is against them. Like, if they were AGL, where would I have them? Like, 2? Probably. They'd probably be like number 2 on this list if they were AGL. But they're not. So, they're in a bad spot. It is what it is. It's like, in 2023's meta, if you were tech, you were screwed. Because Omega Shenron, like Fusion Zamasu, the Int Zamasu, and the Goku Black Suit, the 4 hardest fights, all had interfaces. So if you were tech, you were screwed. And physical was on top. But now, physical's like in the mud, really. Like, it is what it is. And they don't have guard. The standby part of them has guard. This unit doesn't. They have damage reduction. So, yeah, it's not great for them. They just die, right? Like, you bring them to Tech Gogeta kills them. Like, outright. In slot 1, they're dead. Even if they super first, they die to Tech Gogeta. It's a 4 million super, yes. I am aware of this. I'm not saying, oh, I can't believe they can't survive a 4 million super. Not a whole lot of units on this list can. Like, but this is a unit who wants to be in slot 1, so they can give this effect here, by the way. Right? They want to be on rotation. They want them in slot 1 or 2. And here's another thing. On their leader skill, they don't really have slot 1 units. Like, they can go slot 1 sometimes, but against Janemba or Gogeta in the memorable battle stage, they get one shot. They die. They can't go slot 1. So you need a better slot 1. Who do you have? Like, we could check, but I don't think it's important, really. But check your box. Check these categories and tell me who's going slot 1 on their team. Like, turn 1, slot 1. Because there's units who can grow into it, but immediately, these guys can't do it in the toughest fights on global right now. They can't do it. So they die. It just is what it is. Like, it makes me sound like I really hate this unit, which I kind of do, because they get me killed a lot. But they do have a lot of upside as well. Like, I'm going to keep running this unit. Of course. Why? Because they offer so much. They offer so much utility, so much support. I love that about them. I do. But do they also offer me? A game over screen. Very often. So, that's why they're here. That's why there's such a big fall off for them. Like, I haven't recorded the videos of them versus Gogeta and Janemba, but when they go up, you will see them dying a lot. And you will see that I do not put them slot 1 very often, because I can't. Because I know they'll die. But anyways, let's continue the list. Number 7 is Int Broly. He's right here. Right, yeah. Int Broly. Int Broly, I think it gets disrespected by the community quite a bit. He does the 2 things that I love. He is super consistent, and he doesn't die. Which is the most important things, for me, in a unit. They're super consistent, and they don't die. He needs a good team, good leader skill right here. Planetary Destruction, Revenge, Uncontrollable Power. Really good. Uncontrollable Power is one of the best teams in the game, straight up. So that's very good. Crazy super attack effect. Massively raise attack and defense for 1 turn. High chance, a 50% chance to get an extra 30% defense, and 50% chance to stun. Really good. Gigantic Driver, 100% attack and defense, high chance of getting another 100% attack, and a 70% stun. Really good. Yeah, his pass to go Undying Devil, super on point. Because this guy does not die. Very often he will not die. Look how long his passive, by the way, is. There's so much here. Okay. People don't talk about this. He's a support for 4 turns for Extreme Class. 40% defense. Just 4 turns. Straight away. He's supporting. We like that. We like support here. Big fan. 260% attack and defense and 60% reduction. Straight away. No condition. Just 60% damage reduction. Okay. Good. 100% attack when attacking. Okay, sure. I would have liked if he got defense on this. If he got defense here, oh, dude, he would have been crazy. I mean, he is already crazy. He's in the top 10. But could you imagine if he got defense here? Oh, dude, would have been nice. And no one talks about his healing, but I actually do like it. I have found it quite helpful. It's not like a huge thing or anything, but it's a nice addition to what he already does. I don't know why he changes into an STR. He already changes a random key sphere excluding into an STR to STR. I don't know why he does that. I guess because red is lava, I guess. if I was to like nitpick his kit like a bunch, which I will, if this was Rainbow Orbs, dude, he would be, oh my god. Like if you got defense here and this was Rainbow Orb changing, how high would I shoot this Broly up, dude? Like number 3, maybe? Probably. Like number 2 or number 3. I really would. It would be huge, dude. It really would. Now with his domain up, he guaranteed guards, which is super good. Now his domain only lasts 3 turns, but how do you get his domain? If there's a Goku family enemy or all allies are uncontrollable power on the turn. Super easy, because uncontrollable power is one of the best scenes in the game. Like top 2, top 3. It's that good. It doesn't really die. It doesn't really have a way to lose a whole lot. And with this guy with his guard and 60% reduction combined, he's not down to any boss on global right now. Like Janemba, he lives. Tech Gogeta, he's laughing at Tech Gogeta. Blue Kaioken Evolution Blue, like Salmax, doesn't matter. When he has this up, he's God. And then once he attacks once with his domain up, he's super effective against all types for the rest of the battle. Again, super effective against all types, I don't think it's a huge thing, but I also don't view this Broly as an offensive unit whatsoever, because he doesn't have inbuilt additional. He only does the one big attack, and that's it. So, not an offensive unit, so I don't really care that he's super effective. Like, it's cool, he can do a little bit of damage, but he's not a damage dealer. But I don't care about his damage, because Int Broly's team does so much damage. Like, there's a lot of damage dealers on his team. Mostly the both Tech Brolys, Easy A Tech Broly and Carnival Tech Broly, who we'll get onto very shortly. Both of them can carry all the damage on Int Broly's team. I need Int Broly to not die, and that's what he does. Also, on his 5th turn, so if he's on turn 1, that's turn 5. As long as you don't float him. If he's on turn 2, that's turn 6. Again, if you don't float him, he gets his revive. He just has a revive up. He revives at 60% HP, and yeah, he's back. Now, if he is the one who revives, he gets this right here. Changes physical to int, and he becomes an uncontrollable power support for 60% attack and defense, which is just crazy. He becomes a massive support unit, which is huge. Now, unfortunately, that does not count for... If you rock double int Broly and one of them dies, both int Brolys do not get that support. It would have been really nice if they did. I would love that, but it is what it is. But both Brolys do get this. 60% multiplicative defense when receiving an attack, which is super good. The thing about Int Broly that makes him so good is he just doesn't die. He needs a great team. He can go slot 1 when it matters. He can go slot 2 later in the fight without his domain up. He has a revive. He's a support. For the first 4 turns, he can be a support if he revives. He's just super consistent. You can trust Int Broly to do his job. And his job is not die. Not die and support, which he does very, very well. So that's why he's on the list. That's why he's this high. He's pretty underrated by the community, I think, as a whole. But yeah, he is fantastic. I love this Int Broly. Okay. Number 6 is HLUI Goku. Why is HLUI Goku so far ahead of Evolution Blue Vegeta? I'll tell you. Guaranteed dodge. Guaranteed dodge. 77% dodge. Extra 7% dodge with every dodge. This guy does not die. Same thing as Int Broly. This guy does not die. Very rarely are you going to lose a run because of HLUI Goku. Very, very rarely. It's happened. I've had him die for me, and I didn't have his revival. It does happen. I'm not going to say it doesn't, because that would be disingenuous. It does happen. But it's rare. It's very rare that this guy gets you killed. Very rarely. Out of all the units on this list, I would say he probably has gotten me killed the least. I think. Out of everyone on this entire list. I think so. Which is crazy to say, but yeah. This guy does not die. And you would say, wait a second, Reese. Hold on. If this guy is the guy who doesn't die, Like, for you, you're like, oh, well, the things you value the most are consistency and units that don't die. Well, this guy never dies for you. So why isn't he higher? And I will answer that, dear viewer. It's because he doesn't do enough. He doesn't offer as much as the units above him do. Like, yes, the units above him offer more than him, but they also carry a little bit more risk. But what they offer is worth more than the risk. The reward is worth the risk here for these units who I think can die a little bit more often than HLUI. But yeah, let's go over some downsides to HLUI. He does not get defense on super attack effects. Like, I get why he doesn't, because he very rarely gets hit anyway. But he can get hit. He can. It's just rare. And if he got defense on super, he would be crazy. Like, if he got 50% defense here and like 30% here, like, fully built up, UI Goku would have like, after super, he could have like 1.8 million defense or something with like 77% dodge. It would be pretty ridiculous. So I do kind of get it, but I also still think he should have got it. He should have just got 30% defense on both supers, at least. But it is what it is. He loses stats when HP is 77% or less. Now, that does mean he'll have his revive active, if that's true. If a revive hasn't been procced, of course. But I don't really see why he loses stats. Like, you could say, oh, he loses stats because when he loses stats, it'd be easier for him to, like, when he does get hit, to revive. Sure. But his dodge chance doesn't go down. He still probably isn't going to die. It just means if he does get hit, he will die. But again, the chance is very low. So I feel like he should just keep his stats. I don't know why he loses them. It doesn't really make any sense to me. Because if his revive is up, if I want to die in that turn, I'll toss a unit who I know can die in slot 1 and will probably die in slot 1. And that unit very often is not UI Goku. But anyways, here's what I said about Vegeta, right? Vegeta gets a guaranteed additional attack that has a 77% chance of being a super. Where is it? Am I looking at? Yeah, it's right. It is this one. Goku just has a 77% chance to super, which means if he fails that 77%, he's just not supering. Like, he doesn't even attack. You know? He just has his 18 key and then he's done. Unless you proc hidden potential. So, the way Vegeta's is written is just a bit better, because you've a better chance of doing 3 attacks per turn. HLUI Goku, again, will pretty often still do 3 attacks, but there's also a decent chance he'll just do 1, because this is not guaranteed, like Vegeta's. This isn't really a big thing, but I have noticed it a little bit when UI Goku isn't one of the main focuses of the showcase. Sometimes I'll float HLUI Goku, and then like turn 1 where he no longer has his guaranteed dodge, and he loses the 7 key, which he gets straight away. And then he might struggle to get 24 key for his guaranteed crits and extra attack buff. And he doesn't build up his defense, which means when he does eventually get hit, because it will inevitably happen, he'll take a lot of damage. I've had that happen. It's not the biggest deal. It usually hasn't gotten me killed, but it's something to consider, I think. His revive condition is inconsistent. Like, there's times where you will just stay above 77% HP the entire fight, and then you just get one shot from full HP, and it's like, well, HLUI Goku's revive didn't proc. We didn't get it, because it just didn't happen, you know? It just didn't have it available. But there's also a lot of fights where I am below 77% HP, and HLUI Goku's revive is ready to go. I know I am perfectly safe. What it does happen often, especially in the 2 most important fights right now, Janemba and Gogeta, is you might get blasted turn 1. You'll take a bunch of damage, and then turn 2, you will be below 77% HP, and you'll have his revive, and you'll have HLUI Goku's turn 1 slot 1 guaranteed dodge. So you can stick UI Goku slot 1, do some free damage, and then unit in slot 2 or slot 3 can die. But if they do die, you're protected because of the revive. So I think HLUI Goku just does his job, like, perfectly well. There's not much I would change about HLUI Goku. Like, very little I would change. I'm perfectly okay with his revive condition. I think it's perfectly fair. The only things I would change is I don't know why he loses stats here. I would prefer if he had a guaranteed additional like Vegeta, and I really wish he got defense on super. Like, if he did, he would be absolutely nuts, but maybe one. Like, with those changes, maybe he would be. Maybe I'd have AJUI Goku at 1. It would be crazy. But let's continue on the list. I did have AJUI Goku for a while as the best EZA in the game, but now some more EZAs recently came out, and he no longer is. And one of them is in number 5. It's Janemba. LR Janemba's EZA is nuts, what they gave him. And I'm very happy that they made LR Janemba this good. Super happy with it, because I really loved LR Janemba when he came out. I was a huge fan of him when he dropped. I was a huge fan of him on the LR Cooler team back in Worldwide 2022. Yeah, I was just a big Janemba fan for a long time. He has defense on Super now, which he didn't have before, which is always very good. Mastery lowering defense, not the biggest deal, but it does exist, I guess. He's guaranteed guard now, which he did not have before. Remember, Janemba used to guard guaranteed in slot 1 or 2, but would not guard in slot 3. Now he just has guaranteed baseline guard, as well as baseline 22% damage reduction. Had to drink some water there, my voice. I've been talking for a while. Have I been going for 40 minutes? I think I'm about 40 minutes in, and I still have 4 units to go, so maybe I'll try and speed up a little bit. Janemba on his first turn has a guaranteed additional with a 70% chance to be super on his first turn, which is it's nice. We do like that for sure. So, okay, let's have a look. 2 key, up to 6 and 66% attack, and defense up to 166%, and 22% crit chance up to 66% with each attack performed. So, that's pretty good. He builds up these stats, monstrous stats, and good crit. What did I say about crit and super effective against all types? Janemba has crit, which is good. It means he can actually do damage, real damage, as long as he crits to these big bosses. He gets an extra 66% attack buff when key is 22 or more, which is pretty easy to get. Janemba, once he is fully built up, does not struggle for key, like, whatsoever. He basically lives at 24 key, I found. So, yeah. He gets an additional 22% damage reduction in slot 1 or 2. So, in slot 1 or 2, he has 44% damage reduction. So, his ideal slot is actually slot 2, because right here, he gets a guaranteed additional that has a 70% chance to be a super in slot 2 or 3. Which means in slot 2, he can triple attack, because he's got his first attack, his 70% chance right here in slot 2 or 3, and then his hidden potential. I mean, on turn 1, he can actually do 4, right? Because he also has this entry turn 1. He can do 4 attacks in slot 1, or slot 2, sorry. And he has his full reduction up, which is the 44%. 22% here, 22% down here. He also upgraded his 70% chance to nullify Keyblade supers. It used to be 50, now it's 70, which is obviously very good. And they gave him a high chance to dodge supers. Just high chance to dodge only against super attacks. Dumb ability. Janemba getting hit by a super and dying to a super is very, very, very rare. It does not really happen. Because he can dodge it, he can nullify it, he can just straight up tank it, and you're probably giving him a dodge build as well. Probably. So Janemba is just God. Janemba is, again, super consistent. He does not die. Very rarely has Janemba ever gotten to be killed. I think once on video. I think that video is even out yet at the time of me recording this one. But I think Janemba's died for me 1 time. Maybe 2. Again, he doesn't really die. Janemba's crazy. Janemba is super, super crazy. But then you have the Rage mode, which the condition is down here. Yeah. Can be activated when HP is 66% or more starting from the 6th turn. Janemba, by the way, has 2 really good teams right now. Movie Bosses and Uncontrollable Power. They're the big 2 teams. He's also on Rosé's Crota Body and Mind and Super Bosses team, which I have found a bit of success with, but I still don't think that team is good. He's also on LR Broly's Transformation Boost team, which is really good, but I don't really find him super useful there. I've mostly found him useful on Uncontrollable Power beside Buhan. I find that rotation really good. But again, being above 66% HP with Uncontrollable Power, for example, is super easy to do. He guaranteed crits on this, and then he changes the all key spheres to physical on his first turn, 16% attack. So he's dropping, my Janemba, who's 89%, drops an 18 million guaranteed crit, which is doing damage to even Goku and Frieza. And he's cancelling boss supers if they super on that turn. Because remember, it's only a 1-turn rage mode, so do have to keep that in mind. But Janemba is God. Janemba is super underrated by the community as well. I don't really understand why. He's just super good. But yeah, that's why I have Janemba here at number 5. You can kind of see number 4 as well. It's Tech Broly. Let's talk about Tech Broly. Tech Broly leads a great team straight away. Carnival, 200%. Movie Bosses. Movie Boss is one of the best teams in the game right now. He's unable to attack, which I do not mind. Like, I know some people have a problem with some of these standbys, which probably isn't, but some of these units who don't attack, but they have really good defense. I do have a problem with that too, when that unit is like Sleepy Beerus. Because Sleepy Beerus isn't a tank. Like, he does not tank well enough to compensate for him not attacking. Tech Broly, on the other hand, does. Tech Broly on his first turn. 90% damage reduction in slot 1, or 70% damage reduction at slot 2 or 3. And he also gives 50% crit support as the second or third attacker. But Extreme Sides get 2 key and 60% defense. He's a 60% support, 90% damage reduction in slot 1 guard. Like, he is invincible in slot 1. He cannot die in slot 1. This will age super well. Like, in slot 1, Broly does not die. In slot 2, he can take a lot of damage. Because 70% reduction in guard, there's a big difference between 70% damage reduction in guard and 90% damage reduction in guard. Huge difference. I have had Tech Broly eat like 300-400k in slot 2 or 3 from like a Tech Gogeta Super turn 1. When he's eating like 30 to 50k in slot 1. Like, huge difference. But not a huge amount to talk about with this version of Broly. It's when he transforms, which you can do at any point. Now, something I have done a little bit. I tried to delay his transformation. Because remember, he loses all of this after turn 1. After turn 1, he only has this. Now, I have, like, sometimes I floated him or whatever to try and, you know, on a turn where I would usually transform, to try and avoid transforming with him to delay his transformation. Because so Broly's super elite defense transformed. Is his arc going to change? There we go. His super elite defense, which is right here. He has 50% damage reduction baseline, always. But for 3 turns, he has this extra 26%. So he's 70% reduction. 76% damage reduction. This is when he's at his absolute best. But he loses that after 3 turns. So often if the fight tends to go on a little bit longer, I will try to delay that if I can, to transform. You try. Now, it's not always going to work. It's going to be a lot more effective if you have full dodge and you have dupes, which I don't, but if you did, it would be helpful, for sure. Yeah, Tech Broly, he is crazy, for sure. Yeah, so huge stats, huge reduction, huge stats on super. He builds up crit chance, which we love. Guaranteed additional high chance to be a super after receiving an attack, so that's in slot 1, or from an AoE. I have tested it, it does work against an AoE. In slot 2 or 3, guaranteed additional with just a guaranteed additional super in slot 2 or 3. But if you go against like Blue Gogeta, for example, not HL Blue Gogeta, like STR Blue Gogeta in the Supreme Magnificent Battle and the AoE's turn 1 and you Broly in slot 2, he can get this as well. So you will like quad super or triple super or quad with hidden potential. Then he gets an additional 3 key and 50% crit when he's fighting a Pure Saiyan or Warrior's Race on Earth, which means he's guaranteed critting when he's fully built up. I haven't really noticed this too often, like this part of his passive. I don't really see it. Like, because unfortunately the top 4 fights, well actually 2 of them are actually Pure Saiyans or Earthrise fighters. 2 of them are. Because the Carnival, or the Gogeta fight is the tech fusing Gogeta. So they actually are on Pure Saiyans. And then, what's the other one? Evolution Blue Vegeta and Blue Kaioken. They're also Pure Saiyans. So you will actually get that. And he does have an attack break at 24 key, which is nice. We do like attack breaks as well. Probably does greatly stack attack and has an AoE on his 18 key, which is fine. I do wish he got defense, but it's not the biggest deal. And he does get defense on this. Tech Broly, again, super consistent, doesn't really die. His main asset is this, sitting in slot 1 with 200% defense and guard with 76% damage reduction. Yeah. He doesn't die very often. Like, he is God. We love Tech Broly. here. We do. We're big Tech Broly fans. He can, and then his active skill right here, which can be used on the next turn, next attacking turn. Huge stat buff. And then this is when Broly starts doing crazy damage. Like, he's dropping like 30, like even my base, like my 55% no dupe Broly is dropping like 30 million attack stats on that turn with crit chance. It's crazy. Like, Tech Broly is God. This is a wonderfully designed unit. Like, I have very little flaws and problems with Tech Broly. I love him. I really do. He's great. But there are still 3 units I have above him. Number 3. It's Beast Gohan. Beast Gohan is right here. Beast Gohan is one of these units who has not fallen off, like, at all. Like, on JP, of course, there is fights like the Bulma fight and the Goku Frieza fight where he can die even through his active. Like, it can happen. It can. But on Global, that does not happen, which is what we are considering here. I have to consider this is a global tier list. I can only consider the global fights. I have not done Goku and Frieza. I have not fought Bulma. So I've not had Beast ever take damage with his active up, which is super easy to activate. Also, Beast still has one of the best leader skills in the game right here. He's great at stacking attack. He gets defense for multiple turns. He does have the attack break, which can be quite helpful in some tough fights. Huge crit chance, huge damage reduction, huge stats, guard, huge defense, very easy key support. Very easy to get 24 key. Like, Beast just sits in slot 1 and he dominates the game. That's just how it goes. Beast Gohan, like Blue Kaioken Evolution Blue could not do anything to him. Salamax can't do anything to him. Gogeta and Janemba can. Like, if Gogeta instantly supers, like that's a 4 million super frame 1 from Gogeta. That can damage Beast. Beast will eat a lot of damage. Like, my Beast is 1 dupe, he will eat a lot of damage. He doesn't die, but he'll take a lot of damage. But I do find that actually works quite well with like this guy, because then you trigger his revive if you have him on turn 2. But just want to point that out. That tends to work out pretty well. But Beast Gohan is just God. Like, and then he protects the whole rotation with this. Guaranteed crits, huge defense, guaranteed 24 key. Active condition, just get hit once. It's God tier. Beast Gohan, I feel like I don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about. He just does what he does, and he doesn't fail. Beast Gohan will very rarely be the reason you die, I have found, in tough fights. He just does what he does. He's him. But yeah, Beast Gohan is different out here, for sure. The next unit we will discuss is also a Gohan, so you guys know who it is. It is this guy. The Family Kamehameha Gohan. Another Carnival LR, 200% the Kamehameha, great team, great super attack effect. On both, this is huge. Super class has 50% defense. No one talks about this. No one. Other than Omni King, who also just uploaded the tier list as I'm recording this one. I don't know when mine will go up. We'll see when I get time to upload it. But Omni King did upload a tier list. You should check it out. He does mention this. So I never see anyone talk about this, but it is relevant. So he did mention it. His tier list is also very good. A little bit different to mine as well. So there's some varying opinions there, which I do like to show. So let's talk about Gohan. His passive actually isn't that long in comparison to some other passives, like in Broly, for example. Big stats start right away. Builds up huge stats. Has to do 5 attacks to get this. This is crazy. 77% attack within the same turn where each super performed, which just allows his super attacks to just explode. Like, he just does insane damage. It is crazy. Guaranteed Edition has 70% chance to be a super. When key is 18 or more, where we've seen this before. Guaranteed Additional, an extra 58% attack guaranteed additional super attack, 58% attack when the key is 24. And if your HP is 77% or more, it's also super effective. Which is, again, not the biggest deal. You want to go Gohan with crit for sure. And then when there's a Kamehameha ally or an Earthbred Fighter ally in the same turn, he gets 2 key and he guards. He just guaranteed guards. And if HP is 77% or low or below, when receiving an attack, he also has a 50% chance to dodge, because they thought, why not make him dumb? Why not make him even dumber? His standby condition, which is why this unit back here has fallen off a bit because there's a better standby, yours, which is 77% HP or less, which is easy, or the character's third turn. Like, you do this, you go into this. Like, I usually just instantly go into a standby, where he is near invincible, right? He's 77% attack per superclass ally in the same turn, and if all allied superclass, 77% damage reduction, huge. He guards 50% damage or defense per key sphere, huge attack buff when activating the finish skill. It is one where you have to collect key spheres and the DragonBallZ, which is very easy to do. You only need 35 to actually fire it off at full power, but it's very easy with his team and the units you're running with him to get. I don't think I've got less than 60 key spheres when doing it, which I'm at 55%. I've still dropped like a 30 million like attack stat or 30 million damage on these bosses, which is huge. But you can very easily drop like over 100 million. Like over 100 million damage if you have dupes and you have the if you have dupes and you get like over 100 charges, like, which I've done. I think the highest amount of charges I've got is like 130, and it one-shots like any boss. Like, it's insane. Like, this boss has been able to one-shot Bulma, who we don't even have yet, but they can do that. Like, that's how crazy this unit is. Its power is basically unmatched. Like, offensively, this is probably the best unit in the game. Offensively, I think. On the family Kamehameha turn, I don't think any unit can match it. I think it even outdoes First Form Frieza, which was number 1 on a list when I last checked it. But it is not number 1, because number 1 is Tech Gogeta. Tech Gogeta is just God. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, when he fuses. And these guys aren't exactly slouches in base. They stack attack, 50% defense. Greatly stack attack, 50% defense. They get 50% defense multiplicative on super, which the Tech or the SR Vegeta unit did not get. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't understand. 40% damage reduction baseline, obviously good. Rainbow Orb Changer, huge. We do love Rainbow Orb Changing. Going to be really relevant when we get to Bulma, by the way. But Rainbow Orb Changing is just good in general. 2 keeper Rainbow Keeper, sure. Guaranteed additional with a 70% chance to be a super, just baseline, obviously good. 50% attack and a guaranteed additional super when you get a Rainbow Key Sphere, obviously good. And then 50% attack and defense, an additional 20% reduction on the character's entry turn, or when HP is 70% or less at the start of turn. Which means he has 60% reduction turn 1, and if your HP is below 70%, which means you can't fuse, you do have 60% damage reduction again. Fuse condition is not that hard, 70% HP or more from the 4th turn. You can very often get it. Sometimes you get unlucky, which has happened to me, where I don't get it. But, yeah, when you do get it, and then you fuse into this guy, you win the fight. This guy just... I don't know how you lose with this guy. 50% attack and defense on 12 key, 50% attack and defense for 3 turns on 18 key, and also debuffs. Like, this for 3 turns is just nuts. I don't know what they were thinking. 30% heal gets you back to 100% HP. 5 key, 250% attack defense. 77% attack and defense on super. He guaranteed crits. Like, okay. 40% damage reduction. Rainbow Orb Changer. Huge attack buff and a guaranteed additional super and a guard with a Rainbow Key Sphere. When he creates Rainbow Key Spheres, like, okay, sure. Ridiculousness. 40% damage reduction and Scouter for 5 turns. The damage reduction is only before he attacks, which means before he attacks, he has 80% damage reduction, and if you get a Rainbow Key Sphere, he has guard. 80% reduction in guard, huh? Pretty good, I would say, with the Scouter. When he super attacks an enemy with his 18 key, and if they fire a unarmed super, which is a melee super at him, he nullifies it. And then he has a high chance to dodge supers as well. Why does he have this as well? Like, why does he have this? Like, this. And this. Like, why? Like, that is so ridiculous. Tech Gogeta, like, when he comes out as number 1, he dictates the entire fight. This guy, these two control the fight. And Beast can control the fight as well with his active. Tech Broly does not. Janemba doesn't either. Neither does UI. Cell Max also has this ability where he can dictate the fight with his active, but that's very late in the fight. Gogeta dictates it by just, like, he shows you where the super is, you put Gogeta there, you win. Like, he doesn't die. This guy can just one-shot the boss and has super elite defense. And this guy literally is invincible on his active turn right now. So that's the top 10. That's what it looks like. I am tempted to swap Tech UI and Cell Max. I might actually do it. Or maybe I'll do 10. Maybe I'll do this. 10A/10B. Maybe I'll do this. On a tier list, that's what I have. It looks like this. These three, I think, are a step above like the rest of these guys. I've seen a lot of people comparing these two, and I get it. They're very close, in my opinion, as well. The thing that separates them is Beast's active. Beast can save the whole rotation, while Tech Roy cannot. So that's why he's down here. That's what my tier list looks like. Gogeta's, like, unfortunately missed out. Same with Tech UI, but I did kind of slip him onto the list at the last moment there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of my Dokkan LR tier list post Worldwide Download Celebration. It's been almost a year since I've done a tier list, so I think it was high time I do another one. I'm sure your tier list is different. I'm sure you guys disagree with me. I think we can all probably, at least most of us can agree on like the top 3. But yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for spending like, I think, an hour with me here. It's been a long time. It's good to just kind of chat about Dokkan. Always love to. Again, link to the Discord is in the description if you want to join it. It's a good time. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you guys later.